Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Black Robe podcast. As always, it's your girl, Anzhane Slaughter, here with my lovely co-host, Miss Carol Mitchell.
Good
How you doing, Carol?
evening. Good evening, beautiful Anjanae. How are you?
Oh, I am doing good. I'm doing good. This week has been pretty busy on the real estate side. For everybody watching, I have a first-time home buyer class coming up February 20th. It's virtual. At the end of the class, you'll be able to receive a certificate for down payment assistance up to $12,000. So it's definitely worth your time. Young people, we're taking over the real estate game. So,
Hey, take it over. Take it
yes.
over.
Yes, but enough about what I've been doing. Carol, what have you been up to?
Hey, the thing that I have been really busy dealing with is, of course, the very sad death of Kyrie Spencer, who was part of our extended family. He is unfortunately in the paper, and four young people, relatively young people, have been now, I think at least two have been charged with his murder. And there's another young person in the hospital, clinging to his life as well. So six lives,
Wow.
unfortunately, and all the mothers and brothers and sisters, all the lives that knew these young people are all intertwined in a very sad way. So that's one thing. I do have to acknowledge the detectives and the police officers who did their job and found the four people who were responsible for Kyrie's death. It happened January 18th. So to have those
Yeah.
individuals in custody this
Hmm.
quickly means somebody did some really good police work. So we are about justice. And when it
Absolutely.
happens, we want to acknowledge it. When it's not happening, we're going to call it out and acknowledge it also. And then the
Absolutely.
only other thing that's kind of been on my mind is, of course, a letter. It's Black History Month.
It is Black
That's a
History
big thing. It's
Month.
Black History Month, so I'm excited about all the stuff that we see around that. But there's a letter that the Tacoma area, I think it's a Coalition Against Homelessness. I might have their title a little bit wrong. They wrote a letter to the health department and to Pierce County Emergency Management because the temporary care center is not letting folks in. You know, that big
Oh,
hotel on 84th and Hosmer?
oh
That's
yeah.
supposed to be the respite center, the quarantine center for
Right,
people.
exactly.
Well, if you smoke, you can't come in.
Oh wow.
If you have a mental health issue and you have to take your meds, you cannot come in. So there are these barriers. If you have used some sort of substance within 72 hours, you can't come in. So where are these people supposed to go?
Right,
And so
right.
there's a dialogue happening. We posted a little quote from the letter, and we'll keep you posted on how all of that's going to. But
Yes,
tonight,
yes.
I'm excited.
I am too. I'm very excited tonight. We have some special guests coming on our show to share their stories. These two individuals, wow, they have directly been impacting the community, volunteer on a volunteer basis practically, right? Until they, organized and grew what was just small clinics at the
Mhm.
Evergreen State College now into a fully operating business. So we want them to share their stories with us today. We want to know what were some challenges that they faced, right, and how they were able to overcome them, and really what work are they doing right now?
I know I'm very excited about them. They both
Yes.
come from these iconic
Mhm.
legacy families in Tacoma, and they'll introduce themselves and tell you about their family history too. But really doing great work helping to liberate the lives of people who have criminal histories that need to be cleared off of their record. So, shall we bring them in?
Bring them on in.
All right.
All righty.
I'm very excited.
So excited.
There's
There.
Theresa and
Oh,
Corwin.
yay!
Welcome.
Welcome to the Black Robe
Nice. Thanks for having
I'm
us.
really-
Oh,
yes, I'm doing well. Thank you.
good, good. We're so happy to have you guys here today. I want to first ask you, Theresa. How did you meet Corwin? How did this partnership start?
So we were both attending Evergreen State College in Tacoma. He was the president of the pre-law club, and we just happened to see each other in passing. And he offered me to come sit in and see what it was about, and if I'd like to join. I got there and I saw folks that looked like me, and were asking similar questions to what I was interested in, and I stuck around. Uh,
It was
Awesome.
that simple.
it really was.
Yeah,
Yeah, I wasn't trying to become a lawyer or anything. I just wanted to be around folks that looked like me that had similar interests.
absolutely. Don't
So,
you? Yeah.
Theresa Henderson, I can't let you get by without mentioning that legacy family that you come from, and then we'll get to Corwin, and he also is from one of these iconic Black families on the hilltop, or at least in Tacoma, who did business in Tacoma, who did great community work in Tacoma. So Henderson
So,
is the child of.
so my mother is the late great Alberta, Canada, local activist. She was involved in everything: housing, education, employment. She was the backbone of the hilltop, basically. That's what I call her. Um, but not only that, her mother, Bernice Canada, was involved in a lot of stuff as well. So it's kind of like generational activism.
Very much so.
Yes.
And Corwin Scott, everybody is familiar with House of Scott and the Scott family and the great work that they are known for in the Hilltop too. Do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you and Theresa came together and a little on that family legacy?
Well, again, my name is Corwin Scott, and I am an alumni of the Evergreen State College of Tacoma. That actually is where I met Theresa at, who we all lovingly call Teaser. We
Ah,
actually met.
Theresa.
Yeah, Teaser. Yeah. So if I refer to her as that, I'm not speaking about some third person somewhere. It's just Theresa. But anywho, so we met while we were both going to the Evergreen State College, and I was interested in becoming an attorney, and met at one of the meetings, and she and her, and her and I have been like glue ever since. Just a really great friend, a really great support, and a very smart businesswoman. So I was very happy to meet her. As far as my family goes, my father is the late L. Ray Scott. He was the owner and operator of the House of Scott Funeral Home in Tacoma. My mother took it on after he passed away, and now my sister is in charge, and so she's leading the next charge for 2021.
I love that legacy. Anjanae is always pushing us to link social justice to entrepreneurship and show
Oh,
people how doing things that lift the community, that improve and increase equity and justice can also be a source of a living. You can make a little bit of a living or at least have some kind of an
Yes.
income stream. So do you two want to talk a little bit about EEG, which I say is is a life-giving, life-supporting effort.
Okay, so the Evergreen Empowerment Group, I think we started with the Evergreen because we were all Evergreen alums. So Corwin, as well as Cheryl Bay and Warner Campbell, we were all a part of the law club. We started doing the clinics at the school. I think I graduated first in 2010, and I, myself and Warner, and then Corwin and Cheryl graduated the next year. And so after graduation, in September of 2011, we actually incorporated as a business because I was coming back to the school, helping with the clinics, and there was just an overwhelming amount of people in the neighborhood that really, needed support. Folks don't necessarily, when they're signing, stuff away at court, they don't realize that, that they were able to come back into court and ask for, this stuff. I've done what I'm supposed to do. They didn't know that they could have nonviolent convictions moved off of their record so that they can, get the jobs and get the housing. So when we incorporated as a business, we had to find ways to, keep money rolling in because we were college grads that didn't necessarily know we knew how to work, but we didn't necessarily know how to keep a business afloat. So, we
Right.
did all type of fundraisers and submitting grants and, didn't really know what we were doing at first, but, we've been able to, keep the doors open since 2008. So it's a big accomplishment for me because, coming from people that do the work, I get so much joy from actually, being able to help somebody. And it's not necessarily about recognition financially. It's just about being able to, you know, keep the charge, be able to, let other people be able to experience their full self. Folks out here have mad skills, but, they don't necessarily, aren't able to put stuff forward because they can't get into the position that they need to be in. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much the basis.
Yes.
Well, that's no, your guys' work is truly amazing. I mean, helping, remove derogatory marks on people's, criminal record really is liberating. I mean, literally, right? We were talking a little bit earlier about how, it just frees up, people's opportunities to, housing and other things. Have you guys actually been able to see, as you're helping people directly, how their lives kind of transform in that way? Corwin, maybe you take that one on. Corwin.
Yes. Well, that has been the beauty of the work that we have been involved in, is that being able to see people that we grew up with who maybe went down the wrong path. And then they came to us for help, and then we were able to help them. And then now they're able to start a state job or something, or they were able to work in a different field that a criminal background would prohibit them from getting. One of the biggest things was that when we were at the Evergreen State College and we first started, that we were helping a number of students there because they knew after graduation, I really want to go into the field of helping people, which was typically the human service field. But
Mhm.
because of three or four of the felony backgrounds, that would keep them from doing so. So to see people now that have gone through their education and then they came to us for help, and to see them in jobs now and to even start their own companies is absolutely magnificent, let me say to you.
Absolutely. Yeah, life changing. And you know why why for me your guys' work is so important? Because, it's not just you're just because if people do wrong, then they should pay the consequence, right? I think that's just fair, right? We have to hold people accountable, right? But it's so important because we know that our community, African American community, right, is disproportionately targeted when it comes to our criminal justice system.
Right.
So it's not necessarily the individual's fault that they have all these things on their record, right? Data will support these statements that, communities of color, whether it's indoor crimes or outdoor crimes, are targeted at a higher rate than, our white counterparts, right? And so this work is, is undoing some of that structural racism.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Right.
trying to help us get a leg up. This is the equity work that's so important because
Right.
we're trying to recover from these policies. We were born in the skin that we have. We didn't deserve. There's nothing that we did to be targeted. You
Right.
know, and
Right.
so that to me is why I'm just like so blown away with everything. And I know you guys aren't getting paid a whole bunch of money, okay? Because the people that you're helping don't have a whole bunch of money.
That's right.
you know
Right.
but that's why the work is so important, and that's why we got to keep on continuing this, why we got to keep donating to your guys' organization, because we need this work in the community.
And, I think those of us who are in this social justice work, equity and justice work, we can tell each other about opportunities for funding and also collaborate on things so that we might not all get a huge sum individually, but if we got a huge sum that we could all share so
Right.
that everybody, all boats rise together.
Yeah.
That's our hope too, is to be able to collaborate and to support and help you get your message out there so people know about you, not only those who need you, but those who can fund you and help sustain the great work you're doing.
Absolutely. Carol, you kind of
Um,
touched on something, group economics. That's kind of what just
oh,
came to my
yes.
mind. Okay. And that's something that as a community, we need to be talking about more often, how we can actually come together as a collective and, mobilize and, fundraise, right? Support each other. That's what we see these other cultures doing. And that's how
Exactly.
they're able to get ahead. Am I right? Because they
Exactly.
do have that supportive community. If we're all trying to, bid against each other on one RFP, then of
Right.
course, we ain't gonna
Right.
we ain't gonna get nowhere as a community.
That's
I
right.
have actually seen that happen where you had an RFP and 14 different small nonprofits,
Mhm.
many of them of color, all bidding against each other. And so I highly recommend that people start to collaborate and work on these things together so that they can, wherever the gaps are, because Corwin and Tessa,
It's teaser.
Close,
Pizza.
close.
Corwin and Teaser.
Pizza.
Okay, I'm gonna have to remember that. I'll have to. I know you're not a teaser, but I'll think of it. The two
Oh,
of you do this work around expunging and clearing criminal histories. That is so incredibly important. Anjanae and I don't do that body of work,
Right.
but we recognize how important it is to the work that needs to be done. Can you just give us an idea? The typical person who comes in, what is it that they need and didn't know about getting their record cleared? And then how do they get in touch with the two of you? Somebody who sees this podcast or hears the podcast or sees the video, how can they reach out to the two of you and find out whether or not you can help them?
So a lot of times we do reentry fairs. We have been in contact with the Federal Bureau of Prisons right here in Federal Way. We've done job fairs, air baits all over the place. And a lot of times it's just word of mouth. Someone's mom has seen a flyer or they've been to something that, we're hosting. And because of, COVID and other things, we're not really in one place now, but we
Mm-hmm.
have a number we can, give you later that folks make appointments. And, everyone's situation is different. Going to the reentry fairs, you have a lot of people that have old fines or
Mm.
just have not necessarily done all the steps in their order of discharge to actually be removed from this information on their records. So folks have to we sit them down and figure out well, this has to be paid before you can actually get an order of discharge from the courts, or you need to attend this anger management class, or you have to do that. So we figure out what it is on their Washington State report that says, you haven't completed this, that, we'll walk them through, and sometimes, there's forms that the court may forgive some of their fines. And, so we try to walk them through that. And once they have, completed that stuff, and then we can start the motions for them. And, it's more or less just walking them through what's on the Washington State website of, this is who you have to appeal to. This is the forms that you need to use. You need to make this amount of copies, and you need to be ready to advocate for yourself in court, because all of this work, whether it's some special wording or whatever, you have to present that to the court pro se most of the time. You have to, go in here and say, look, I did what you told me. Um, uh, I need this off because it's causing me this type of issue, whether it is I can't get, stable housing, or, I've been denied for this job, but I have all these qualifications. So that's the most rewarding part, is to be able to empower people with the information that you can remove this, because when they're signing these um, um, convictions or plea
The
bargains or whatever
agreements.
they're signing,
Mhm.
they don't realize that they have the ability to go back in court and say, look, this is nonviolent. This is something that was going on while, maybe I was on drugs, or maybe I was just not in my bright mind. But here, now I'm better, and I've changed my life, and I need my paperwork to say that my life has changed as well.
And that actually, I think, is the typical person, is someone who has felt, how long does the punishment have to go on?
Right.
I did what the courts have asked of me. Sometimes when I had the means to do so, I paid off my fines. But now I have a great job and I'm living at the rescue mission, which I actually do know of somebody we helped who actually was making very good money, but
Mm.
no one would rent him an apartment. And the guy had a high-end vehicle and everything, had saved up plenty of money, but no one would give him that opportunity. And then, so the typical person is, they vary for a number of reasons. We have worked with folks who had non-violent offenses that were trying to get into a nursing home because they were elderly and they needed care. So that actually has happened
Wow.
on a few various, yeah, on a few occasions. But because their background said otherwise, they were not able to even get to a nursing home, even in their elderly age. And it's like, again, when does the retribution of the courts end? So so probably the easiest way to reach either of us is through, I can give the phone number, which is 253 365 6310. Or if you happen to see me at the store, you can always buy me a ice cream bar, and then we can talk about your case there, I guess, and go from there. But otherwise, no. But yeah, so we are still based at the House of Scott. They actually have set aside a small office for us that we've have been using for a while now. So that takes care of a lot of our printing needs, and also with the telephones and everything. So um, yeah,
I
And
love that.
And
The family helping family, right?
right.
it keeps on going.
we need it. And if any of our viewers would like to support your guys' business or a nonprofit, how can they do so?
Well, I did mention the ice cream bar, but however, if anyone
Of
would
course.
like to bring, yeah, right. But if anybody would like to bring in a donation to the House of Scott in our name, that would be great. We actually haven't actually charged the clients because most of the folks
Wow.
that we work with are unemployed, or they're underemployed, as my friend Tiza loves to point out to me. So we've actually have kept this thing going because of our own outside work at outside agencies.
Yeah.
You know,
And that's
it
often
doesn't feel
how we
like
have
it's
to do
working.
this work. You
That's
know,
right.
that's
It really is. It
often
really
how
is.
it gets done. We have to, Carol knows I've had a few different jobs. We got to keep the lights on. But it's our passion to continue
Right.
to do this work. We don't do it for recognition, although you guys deserve it. Okay.
Appreciate
And
that.
and I feel like that's something, as within our community, we feel like we have to be excellent, but for no recognition, because it's a duty, but not everybody is doing what you guys are doing. It takes a lot of time, that you guys could be spending with your families, or making, ends meet, right? And but you're doing this for the community, and you're doing it to help others. And so, God
I,
bless both of you guys.
yeah, I agree with you, Anjane. I did want to mention too what is coming to mind to me, Tisa and
Teaser.
Corwin is
Mhm.
the Housing Justice Project at Tacoma Pro Bono. they my good friend Lori Davenport often talks about how people don't really want to come in to get that kind of support. You two
Yeah.
seem to have figured out a way to break down that fear that people have about just coming in and having that initial conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just wondering, what do you think it is that, even for example, with the eviction moratorium, the rental assistance money, people aren't coming forward to get it. People are not coming forward to get their records expunged. They're not coming forward to get legal financial obligations forgiven, even though these things are available. So, what is your secret for getting people to come in the door? What was the secret when you did the clinics at Evergreen that maybe you could teach some of the other providers, like the Housing Justice Project? Maybe there's a way you all could have a little contract with them so that some of your clients could be referred there for a small fee, of course.
Right,
Right.
right.
Of
I
course.
like the way you're thinking.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
You gotta
Yeah.
think like
I
that.
think we are just we are available to meet people where they are. You
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
just like what you were saying, with the housing stuff going on now, I kind of helped clean up around there across from the housing authority, and I saw social workers come out and try to get people housed, and a lot of times
Mhm.
folks don't want to be housed because they have some type of trauma going on that they don't want to be inside. There was a lot of mental health issues that I saw, and I think some folks, they just don't want to stop doing what they're doing, whether it's drug issues, or they want to have sex with whoever down the street and don't want to be inside a building where folks is watching them. It's several things, several different things going on with people, and I think even when we are addressed.
I don't want nobody watching me.
Well,
Yeah.
if you're doing your business in the
I
park, I'm just
quite
saying,
understand.
you're gonna have some eyes on you if you're doing your business in the park. But my point is, folks often have to, they have to be ready to be helped.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people don't put what's best for them in that frame of mind. They're kind of just on whatever track they are, and sometimes you have to be available at 7:30, 8 o'clock at night,
Mm.
because folks can't get off work, or they got to bring the kids, and you got to accommodate kids in
Right,
space,
right.
because folks have barriers, and that's what EEG is all about, is knocking those barriers out the park. We got to be able to say, look, you know you're my sister, you part of my community, you're my brother, you're next
Mhm.
door, and I want you to be able to have a few more bucks so you can put it into your house, so my property value goes up.
Mm-hmm.
All these things, when they happen to our neighbors, they happen to us. And so, for us to, grab folks where they at, like, okay, you're eligible for vacation. Let's take you down this path. And, maybe I got a friend over here that can, hire you to do this so that you'll have this money by this date. Let's make these goals to take care of this by these certain dates, so you can accomplish, getting your stuff vacated, or getting yourself sealed, or whatever is going to help you get into that position that helps you financially, that helps me financially.
Mm-hmm.
So
And actually, and to piggyback, I guess, off what that Tisa was saying, that it's true. I think that we also, as the EEG, have involved ourselves in other activities that had nothing to do with expungement. We were working, and we were attending the meetings of the Washington State Business Leaders, I think, network, and then we were just all just involved in all kind of other things that had nothing to do with expungement. And some people said,
Mm-hmm.
"Well, why are you in at these other places if they don't have anything to do with you?" And what the work that you're doing is because my thing was this: we were branching out and we were getting to know the practitioners. Um,
right,
and there were times that people came to us and said, "Hey, I know that we're here about jobs, but I actually have a brother over here who has an issue. Do you think he could come down and see you?" So I think that just being out in the open, being people that you could approach, people that you could talk to, and also just being in in various places from the Capitol, maybe even down to the Elks on Tacoma Avenue or something, but
Mhm.
approachable and in the area where you would feel comfortable enough to approach us and talk to us. And one, don't be ridiculed because of what happened to because of what you've been through, but say, listen, what can we do to work together to help you to get to where you are trying to go? And that's pretty much been the basis, I think, for the last 2 years has been to move from expungement because the laws here have changed a bit. So things have gotten to be a lot easier for folks.
Mhm.
But they're also, we still work with folks from out of state because, of course, they have stuff that has followed them here that we work, with people from, California and other places routinely. But you also have some folks who just say, "Hey, I don't really want to work for somebody. I've had this great idea. I want to start my own company. Can you help me with that?" So it has branched off from just expungement to let's help you to get your own business started, your own 501c3 going. And now we're working in this clothing bank thing because that's kind of big. Folks are out trying to, get job interviews and they don't have anything, that is business attire. So, I would love to say that we had the wraparound services, but I'll say that I think we come up with what somebody could need that we haven't seen that need already filled elsewhere.
Right.
And if
Yeah.
that's the
Really
case, then
good.
you'll find us there.
I love it. Well, let's just call you guys the Evergreen Empowerment Resource Center. Okay,
Hello.
you're no longer just a group. Y'all
Right.
got all the resources. Okay, I mean, I love it. And to me, when you say, why is the EEG in at the Capitol, or why is the EEG in these networking meetings, right? That's exactly where your business should be, right? You're positioning yourself for advancement, for growth, right?
Right.
That's exactly the type of mindset, the framework that we all should be looking at, right? Let's not stay where we're at. How can we move forward? Especially when the type of work that you're doing, it has a lot to do with policy.
Right.
Policy has a huge influence on your work. So yeah, keep it up, you guys. We gotta come to a close with this week's episode. But we do just want to thank you guys so much for coming out on our show today. It was really a pleasure getting to know you guys. Carol, you have anything to wrap it up?
Just want to thank Theresa Henderson, Tisa Canada family, and of course Corwin Scott from the incomparable Scott family. Love the way that you're using your life. This is a beautiful crystal stair story, which of course I'm sure has had some nails and some splinters and some broken glass that you've stepped in along the way. But it's a beautiful thing to see the reflection of your family legacies in the two of you. I know that your father Corwin and your mother Tisa are both smiling at the continuation of a great and powerful family legacy. EEG, Evergreen Empowerment Group, is on the rise. And so we're here to support you and help you and want to make sure that if there's anything, that if there's anything that you need from us or you want us to do for you, just let us know. We are your ally and we are your friends and your supporters. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you guys. All right, see ya
We
next
will
week.
see you soon.
All
Keep
right.
keep hope alive.
We'll
Yeah.
do our best.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Oh, you're still recording?
All righty.